going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle. Wayno can't be with us this week because he needs to be with his family, so we're sending him some love. So today, it's just me, academics, and our friend Justice from Love Renaissance, who was with us on the show a few weeks ago. Justice, welcome back. It's nice to have you.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yo, Justice, great to have you. To my teammate Wayno, listen, yo, my hearts and prayers go out to you. You my guy. You know, we're going to hold down for you always. Oh, yo, can I say something real quick? Hey, this is for the audience, and I don't even know if the desker knows because it was before you hopped on. I believe I've contracted a slight case of the pink eye. So if you look at this eye right here, it looks a little weird. I gotta tell the audience, don't look at me like that, Justice. I'm only saying that because today is mild. If y'all see me rocking shades for the rest of the week, I'm not trying to be cool. It's just that, listen, one monkey don't stop the show, and the show must go on.
Wait a minute, academics, did you even leave the house this weekend? Last thing I saw, Justice, was his fans hitting me, please wake up, academics. He just blacked out on his stream. When did you get pink eye if you didn't even leave the house?
I fell asleep. I'm just trying to say, yo, we go through real life shit. Good thing we're quarantining right now because apparently this is contagious. Yo, it looked like Justice in Atlanta. I'm over here in Jersey. Nadeska, she's probably like in Canada or something like that. Like, you know, Appalachian Mountains. I don't know what's going on. What I'm just saying is that just be aware, so don't judge me for the things I'm already presenting. However, it was a very eventful week in the hip hop. I can't wait to talk about it.
Look, eventful would be one way to describe it. Justice, I'm kind of sorry that this is the episode you had to sign on for. But anyway, let's get into this. So we've all been waiting a few weeks to sort of really hear, honestly, just from the police, like what really happened between Megan and Tory Lanez. But of course, we were believing the victim here. Tory hasn't said anything for the past couple months. Then on Thursday, he finally said that he would be breaking his silence. Maybe some people thought he would issue a statement or go on Instagram Live, but they were wrong. He dropped a 17-track album called Daystar and basically spends the entire album addressing the shooting, calling out other R&B singers. He calls out Everyday Struggle. A lot of mixed reactions from this project. So on the song Money Over Fallouts, for example, he literally accuses Megan of trying to frame him for the shooting incident, suggests that she wrote false information on the police report, then goes on to detail an alleged relationship with Megan and her friend. Just let's start with first thoughts on this album. Academics, we know you listened to this album, so what did you think?
First of all, I do want to correct what you said. I don't think he called us out. He gave us a shout out. You know what I mean? He called out a couple other people. But here's the thing. And this is what I'm saying. There's a lot to unpack. Do you want to know my thought of him dropping an album at this moment, or how?
What do you think about? Yeah. We don't care necessarily about how great you would rate the album musically speaking. We could save that, I guess, for later in the show. What did you think about him using this project to respond, and not necessarily just respond or try to defend himself, but also point fingers and point blame and call out other people who tried to defend Megan? Sorry, that's what I should have asked from jump.
I do believe it was a ballsy move, but I also believe it was, if you ask me, a dumb move. By the way, let's put this in perspective. Tory Lanez, after pretty much 2 or 3 whole successful months of doing quarantine radio, everybody loved him. Tory was one of the most likable people. And a lot of that, likability cachet came from not music, not that we thought he was a bad guy ever, but he was entertaining us. He was doing the right things. He seemed super respectful in some extent, right? And people loved him. This made people say, whoa, he probably isn't that guy. And then we were waiting for his response for pretty much 2 months, and he sat quiet. And when he answered us, this is where the optics look bad. He dropped an album which is for profit. So he could have said any time along the way, I ain't do it, kept quiet, worked on the album, did it. And again, I'm all for artists, and their right and ability to express themselves through music, but it does make it look funny when the only time you're willing to respond to something that's much bigger than music, which involves domestic violence, hurting especially a Black woman, the only time you're down to respond to it is when you're also dropping a project. So I think it was bad timing. I wouldn't sign off on that if I was his manager, his best friend, someone in his team, but clearly he felt this was the only way to address it, or the way he wanted to. But I don't like how he just dropped this before addressing the people first.
Okay, Justice, you run a big label. You guys manage some pretty big artists. What's your take on how Tory is handling the situation?
I mean, I think it was in poor taste. Like, just to be honest, I get it. I get the path of trying to be an artist, but just like, bro, you can't come out and drop an album. Number one, look at the timing. Like, Twitter was basically saying read the room. It was a day, Breonna Taylor thing, and how people were responding to it. That's one thing. And number two is just like, man, like, bro, you've been gone for so long, for however many months, and you're going to just come back and basically just point your fingers and call her a liar without an explanation. It's like, it's like, oh yeah, you're a liar, and just like, okay, where's the explanation? He just
Absolutely.
basically said I didn't do it, and I'm just like, all right, cool. So you're gonna do all that and not give me anything? It basically was capitalism at its finest, which, you know, when it's your own people, when it's people you love, it feels a little shaky.
To an extreme degree, right? Because not even just pointing fingers or saying I didn't do it, but going as far as to claim that she didn't actually have any damages to her feet. I guess I'm trying to get into the mind of Tory Lanez if he thought at some point this would resonate. And some fans, of course, are going to jump out and say, well, Tory's still innocent necessarily. But I guess I'm glad that you guys both agree that it was in poor taste.
Listen, even if he's completely innocent, the way that you treat this subject, and he tried to address it sometimes on the album, but I don't know if he did it well enough. The way how you treat a woman being hurt by a man physically, let's take it to another degree, maybe shot, in the times we're in, is even if you are innocent, you don't come out and basically, like, I'm listening to the album, he says, yo, why you ain't call me? Like, hold on, wait. So she's in the hospital and she should call you? There's some underlying things there that if you're innocent, niggas gonna say, bro, this seems still abusive. Like, only the abuser would actually say to the victim, yeah, so you talking to all the cops and everybody else, but you ain't talking to me? It sounds wild a little bit. It do sound wild. So, like, I'm looking at that, I'm like, while if when we get to the music, I'll just talk straight about the music. But the approach is a little bit belligerent. I understand him trying to defend himself and saying he feel betrayed, but this is why I think the album wasn't the best outlet for, if he's truly innocent. Let's just go into his mind. He says he's innocent. He ain't do it. The way he responded to that or asserted his innocence is by basically getting at everybody in a very negative way. Now, granted, they did talk about him, but not to his credit, but it's his fault. You sat quiet for 3 months or 2 months. They're going to talk about you and they're going to assume it's true when we're only hearing one party. So you coming out with an album saying, yeah, you who commented on it, you should have. Tory, this is a very public story. Like, no one owes you a phone call, this and third. You should have been forthright up front and probably just been vocal therein. As far as what I think happened that night, though, with him coming out, I think that's another discussion, because I don't think he would be dumb enough to actually, at least what we heard from Megan and some of the reports from TMZ and other outlets, if he's as guilty as supposedly everyone has said he is, if he just dropped this album just saying, I ain't do it, he's basically saying, if I don't get charged, if y'all don't have no proof, why are you vilifying me? So it feels like there's some other element here, but still, I think it was a bad move with the album.
Cap.
Huh?
It's cap.
What's cap?
There is. I mean, just come on, bro. When I'm not placing guilt on anybody, but usually I know how guilt works. You just want to be loud and try to justify your innocence. Like,
that makes sense.
If you're truly innocent and you're truly, number one, just like sorry or sad about an unfortunate situation that happened.
Hold on. I don't think this album had no apologetic mood. It had the you guys are trying to set me up and frame me.
Right.
So I just want to be clear on that.
Yeah, it had the I'm a black man under attack, which I'm just like, I mean, you can easily try to play that card, but Not really, because I still haven't felt like any sort of humanity in his approach to it or his response to it. It feels all very premeditated. There is no this is actually my friend, this is actually somebody I love. It feels like everything is a play. It's all move, it's all a chess move. And whether you like the chess move or not, it's just like, damn, like, yo, my friend got hurt. Like, my friend is actually under attack. Like, it's so many different ways he could have went about it. I just feel like it's cap.
Ak, what do you think? Look, so you would like to think that truth is the final word, but I mean, we live in a society, we have a president where it's clear that that's not the truth, right? It's really sort of kind of, no, I mean, I guess it's really whoever is the loudest and who tells the best and most entertaining story, right? That's something we've discussed several times. It's not always the truth. So if for some reason at some point we don't get any final word from police or law enforcement, do you think Tory can just continue to run with the story and just convince some people that he's innocent?
Yo, me and Tory, we've had, I want to say a relationship. I'm not going to call us friends, but we've definitely talked to each other.
Oh, that's your man.
Huh?
That's your man.
That's my man's. Or it was my man's. Listen, hear what I'm saying. This is why I think, the next guy, I'm going to hold you to this. I want to talk about the album, but still, I'm talking about the approach and everything else. When I'm watching and I'm listening to the things I'm hearing Tory talk about on this album, yo, how you get shot in your foot and the bullet ain't hit no this, and third. Tory's on this album being a defense attorney that's arguing semantics. And maybe some fans will actually fall for that. Like, in terms of, yo, well, Tory's making a point. Why'd you hop back in a car with him? Damn, how you get shot in the foot and you ain't have no bones broken? Here's the thing that I think that doesn't matter. He's arguing the shit that doesn't matter. He's arguing, imagine Chris Brown coming out and arguing what transpired before he started to do things or he started to abuse Rihanna. Doesn't matter. He's arguing, one thing he forgot 17 tracks. You know what he didn't say? I never fired no gun. Never said that. He never said, I didn't hurt you at all. He's doing some semantics. How'd you get shot? Like, there's a million ways how she could still be hurt because of something you did, and you could still have all the excuses you have. And sure, in your mind, you might be like, oh, she's blowing this up to the media like I just shot her, like, I meant to shoot her or whatever the case is. But that doesn't matter. The only question that I wanted to be answered on this album, Tory, did you do anything that resulted in her being hurt that night? If the answer is yes, save the details for the court. Because in a court of public opinion, we only care, yeah, she could say she got shot and maybe she didn't get shot, but like something hit her, who cares what happens, right? If you're the cause of it, to people, you're not less guilty. You're just as guilty as if you just shot her. This is domestic violence. It's a black woman, again, being hurt and also being mistreated by the media and the public in terms of people not believing her or whatever the case is. This is pretty serious. Tory didn't say the things that I needed to hear to say, hey, oh, this is really a setup. He ain't say, I never did nothing. He just said, I didn't shoot you. He didn't say, he didn't even acknowledge she got hurt. That's another thing. He didn't acknowledge that, oh, you got hurt. He basically just said, I didn't shoot you, as how the story's coming out. You're arguing semantics.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like you don't believe him, because him trying to say that Megan framed him. Remember when we initially reported this story, it was a little bit hazy because at first she didn't necessarily seem like she wanted to talk to the police. If she really wanted to frame him, wouldn't she have just jumped right out with all of the details, right? It seemed like, her camp responded to this, and it sounds like the story we heard a few weeks back. They're saying that Tory's reps are trying to spread inaccurate stories. They're manipulating text messages about the incident. So what does Megan, who is one of Time's most 100 most influential people. She just got a cover. She's off a collaboration with Beyonce, just had a great performance at the BET Awards. Her career is going really well. I can't even speak. I'm sorry. This is just so absurd to me. What does she even have to gain by framing Tory Lanez in a situation like this? And I guess the bigger question is, first of all, how should he have addressed this? What would have been the right way?
Okay. Well, first of all, Meg just needs to just continue doing her thing and just putting out her music. And I'm waiting for the album. That's what I'm excited about. She doesn't need to follow what the media and the fans are going to pressure her to do. That's not important. I just think she needs to stay focused. She'll handle the details in court. I just think that Meg has a very important place in the culture, and she just needs to she needs to run that.
I love Tory, but the album could have been just simply a tweet. I ain't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I think Tory knows he's a great rapper. He knows he's a great musician. I think Tory realizes that, hey, listen, the world is at my feet trying to listen to what I have to say. I have a platform, or I have the ears of people that I've never had before. How do I say something that simply should not be thought of in a marketing perspective and not be thought about in terms of capitalism gain? And instead of doing that, he dropped the project, because, of course, what better way to capitalize on something like that and gain the ears of people? Because you know what? I keep hearing people tell me, yo, Tory is rapping better than he's ever had. And I say, you ain't been listening to Tory. Tory's not rapping better on this album than he's rapped on the last 3 albums, which are rap. He does R&B as well. Number one, for people who say that, you weren't listening. Number two, the reason why you're listening is because it's connected to some real shit. Tory's a great artist. I'll acknowledge that. I love Tory's music. I just think it was a little bit ill-timed in this moment. And it didn't really give the position to make us actually feel that he's completely innocent. So if it doesn't convey your real true innocence, and it seems, if you listen to, hold on, salute to my man Roger, who just sent over the rundown. Like, if you see the amount of people he's getting at, when you're charged or accused with certain shit, especially of this magnitude, there are gonna be people talking shit. Yes, there are gonna be people switching sides. If you think that we're gonna go and ignore that Meg got shot, or Meg says she got shot, and we're gonna think about that Masika is talking about you on the gram, that JoJo took you off the album, that J.R. Smith was not rocking with you, like, bro, it sounded good. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm listening to shit like, damn, he's talking spicy, but it doesn't really like connect and deal with the issues that are way bigger than music. Because if you ask me, this is a very brilliant album if you only address the music. Sounds great. He's rapping and he's not holding no punches.
That's a big if, though.
It's cap. It's not even. I get it. Like, album is all right. Like, it's all right. Like, he did his thing. It sounds good, but like, it's not that brilliant. And it's just my take on it. Like, he's saying a couple of things. Beat selection is all right, but I mean, truthfully, again, it's just like, bro, if you're gonna maintain your silence for 2 months,
yeah,
and then now you're just gonna drop an album, like, I'm not telling you what to do, but you also should just maintain your silence, because it has served you better in public opinion, because it's just like everybody's looking at you a certain way as, yo, there's clearly an agenda here. And the agenda is to try to figure out who's going to profit from this, trying to figure out how he's going to profit from this, and also how to, look the coolest. Like, I all the shots that he's firing to J.R. Smiths, Masikas, and all that, it's just like, it's him just trying to gain momentum and trying to just like, it's almost just like being in school and, in the lunchroom, and, y'all are just like joning on each other, and, you just start catching strays just to gain the momentum, and you just come back because people just now are on your side. And I'm just like, again, what is at hand? He still never addressed it. He just called her a liar and just kept it moving.
Yo, I'm wondering in strategy wise, and you're from the label, behind the scenes, marketing, you're from the bigger picture, bigger plan type of shit. Why did this felt like Tory trying to go out like Scarface? Like they're running into the crib and he said, everybody's get y'all gonna get me, you got me. But everybody gonna catch a bullet. And I'm looking at that because I'm like, yo, Tory, you were so loved 3 months ago. When you do it like this, you're not gonna get help from DSPs. News or media sites don't want to fuck with you after that because they're seeing that you don't even have that compassion to what that woman is saying. Like, there's no apology on the album.
So what's next? So there's a clip circulating, right? There's an anchor at Complex News called Speedy Mormon. My guy Speedy, he did an interview with Tory last year, and the clip circulating is Tory essentially talking about celebrities falling from grace. If you commit a crime, you murder someone, something bad happens, then how does the public treat you moving forward? And essentially, he's saying in the clip that even if he did do something at some point in the future, he doesn't necessarily think it would be fair for the public and fans to just disown him and never want to support his music and his art ever again. And it feels like that's where we are at the moment. So now, as consumers, what are we doing from here? Academics, you keep talking about how the album is good besides all of the other stuff, but I don't even know how you add the besides when that really is the content of the album. So I think it's high snobiety. Some outlets have already decided they're going to stop supporting him because of the timing of when he dropped the album, the tone of it, etc. How do we feel? How do you feel as a platform, Academics, before we get into DSPs?
Again, I think the album's brilliant, but I don't think that's how you initially respond. I think that response, putting that out first before anything else, says that you might be trying to pad your pockets. Is it customary, or do we expect, or as fans of music, do we love to see our favorite musicians address their turmoil, their strife, their pain, their like whatever they're going through, grief, address it in music? Absolutely. Is that the thing that we expect first and foremost in situations like this? I would probably say no. So very ill-timed. And if, by the way, say he had done a great job of convincing people otherwise outside music that he was completely innocent, and it was then universally accepted that, hey, Tory got framed and he dropped this album.
Well, I completely disagree because, again, putting things in context. Again, with Tory in particular, if he was an artist like, let's just say, J. Cole or Frank Ocean, right? Or like artists that don't necessarily speak and they put things in the music, but like my man did a whole thing called Quarantine Radio. He speaks a lot and he has a lot to say. So because of that, now taking things into the music contextually just feels off. But if he was an artist that necessarily didn't always take the approach of being outspoken or being in front of a camera and taking that position, I would accept this a little bit better in terms of him dropping an album, because I'm like, all right, cool. This is probably just the only way you know how to communicate. And again, dealing with artists, that's how you have to understand that everybody has different ways of communicating. But the man can articulate himself very well, and he does this a lot. So I say again, Cap.
I agree. Another thing I think he's doing bad in the album, after the album's up, Rick Ross, and by the way, you dropped this album for it to be a conversation piece. Everyone's going to talk about it. Everyone's going to have an opinion on your timing, on the actual product, everything that surrounds it. Rick Ross was saying it was a poor decision. I think it was it felt a little 6ix9ine-ish for him to get a Ross. You can't you versus everyone. That's why I thought that like the Masika and shit like that, the Masika disses and the J.R. Smith, it was highly amusing on an album perspective, but it seems like you're shooting at everybody who ain't just completely rocking with you, which I don't think that's a really good strategy. Address the thing that you've been accused of, address it in a little bit more depth. If you can't speak to exactly what happened, don't speak at all. But once you start speaking, you just saying she's lying is just not enough to let us feel you could slander everybody who said you're either a bad guy or said you did something.
And we didn't need 17 songs to get to that conclusion. That, you know what I'm saying? It's just like there's no depth. There's nothing that goes past, I'm gonna be on my own. Like, and which I guess I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm just like, bro, you didn't need 17 records.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm a little torn. I
can hear that you're torn, which is what I'm surprised about. I don't know how you could just sort of go into this with really even such an open mind, like knowing what he's talking about. How can you say you still like the album is what I don't really, really understand.
Because I think Tory is expressing a version of his truth. I just don't think his truth matches with the time and No, seriously. And matches with, like, he's saying some shit on there where he's saying, yo, listen, hey, I think I'm going to talk about you, JoJo, or whoever else, because, hey, I've been there and I've held your kid. And damn, I expect you to, before you disrespect me online, you should give me a call. These are actual real things. And I respect that. The thing is that we don't care. We don't want to hear an album about you and JoJo's relationship and you and some of these other people's relationship. We want to know, did you hurt Meg Thee Stallion that night? So stop dissing everybody around it. What did you do? If you're going to talk about it, tell us what happened in the car. Did she try to leave? Did she say, Tory, get the fuck away from me? Why was her back turned? She said her back was turned. What were you doing? You ain't say nothing. You ain't say nothing to those things. You just said you're good. And I understand that it's a very complicated situation, which then I have to question you, why are you speaking at all? Because you still can't give the details that people want to know.
It's funny that, and this is completely off track, but the night that this happened, and I think you might have posted a clip too on your page, of them hanging out at the pool.
Yeah.
I looked at that clip and I just said something feels shaky here. Like,
did you really?
It just felt shaky. It didn't feel like that night was going to end well. And I know in hindsight it's easy for me to say, but just like Tory, Kylie, and Megan in the pool, and like how Tory came into the pool picture, and Megan kind of just got him out the way, like, yo, like, you're being a nuisance. I was just like, something about this just feels a little off.
Okay, let me just throw this one other thing, which is like pretty much, also the bulk of the album. And I guess, I'm going to reverse the roles. I'll moderate for half a second because I want to.
We only have a couple minutes left.
No, 100%. Tory basically used that popular thing about Bill Cosby, like, yo, they're only getting me because I got my master's. Rock Nation hates me, blah, blah, blah. There's entities out there who is creating this. Justice, from your music business experience, do you think that a management company, a label, or anybody else who operates in the background of an artist's career would be down to drum up, especially these serious accusations against someone, or just drum it up in terms of making their artist a victim to possibly advance their career? Do you are these companies beyond that, or maybe does Tory have a point that we could look into it?
Anything's possible. I don't put anything.
This sounds wild though.
I don't put anything past anybody in the music business, but this is not helpful. This is not helpful. It really isn't. Like, I don't see anybody that cares about an artist, or doesn't care about artists, to put an artist through this level of scrutiny. This level, it's like, just emotional, uncertainty about, do I believe her? Do I not believe her? How do I feel? Like, it's like, it's just not worth it. They might as well should have just done a little relationship scandal. That's what it was about, but in terms of, like, bro, getting shot, like 50 Cent, like, come on, bro. Like, right. No.
I don't think Megan has anything to gain from this. Again, no. Academics, like I outlined earlier.
The #1 song in the country.
Right, she's doing so well in her career. Can you imagine? This must feel like a stain for her, that for the next few years, every time someone writes a deep dive about how great she's doing and the next project and the next big move, this is gonna be something that they mention in an article. You think that's something that a woman wants? It seemed like she really wanted nothing to do with the situation, and that's why she was so quiet to begin with. To your point earlier, I think Tory's full of shit. That's my hot take on this. Ooh. And I think he really reacted in the worst way possible. And now there's no sympathy at all. I don't want to hear his music ever again, period. because it's like a little child lashing out here.
Well, let me ask. Suppose again, say he never gets charged. Say it becomes a little bit more evident that the accusations of him shooting or whatever may have not been all the way correct. Is there anything that we can say, okay, we understand Tory a little bit? Say again, nothing ever happens. Like the police come out and say, hey, we do think something happened, but Tory's right. He did not shoot her. Is there any way we look at Tory and be like, okay, you're a little bit redeemable in that way?
No.
I'm going to the desk. You know why? The desk is the only way.
Have you sat there and actually, like, first of all, depending on the cops to rectify any situation? Number one. Number two, bro, no, use your common sense. Sometimes you don't have to wait for all the facts or the evidence. It's like, yeah, bro, pick a side, use your common sense. Like, no, it's nothing to say. It's nothing to say. You know, it just is what it is. Come on, stop it. Stop being a little.
No. Hey, listen, I try to let's wait for all the facts. Is Tory blackballed? Because I see
if he wanted us to continue to wait for all the facts, he should have shut his mouth and let us continue to wait for the facts. He jumped out with 17 songs, point fingers at Megan, every single person who defended her, taking shots at Rick Ross. I'm sorry, you've lost your chance now for us to sit back and further wait for the facts, because that's what we kept saying as we reported on the story. We're going to believe the victim. We're going to believe Megan. We hope she's good, but we'll still wait for details before passing any final judgment. He took that away. Anyway, we have to go. I'm sure we'll end up speaking more about this later in the week, unfortunately. Justice, thank you again for joining us today. We really appreciate it. What are you trying to add?
Hey, Roger, table this thought. We're going to bring up the blackball conversation again, because we know what happened when it was the rainbow dude. It might be happening again with Tory. I think that's a different discussion, but yeah, absolutely. There's much more to talk about here, but I think we got through a good amount.
All right. Thank you guys for watching Everyday Struggle. We'll see you here tomorrow on Complex.